Hi, Shalonda. Hi, Chris.
Hello,
Hey,
Sunny.
Sammy.
How are you guys?
Doing well. It's so good to have the tres amigos together again.
Right?
Yes, for sure. And I can't even wait to kick off this summer series.
I
We've
know
been
it.
working for the last year or so on
Hmm.
developing this program, and now it's a thing.
Yes.
That like we have a thing. And I'm so happy that it's anchored in trust because that's what's missing. We're missing
Yeah.
it everywhere we go, but especially in business. And I
Hmm.
think that people are feeling the burn and the
Yeah.
pain, right? What
Yeah.
what do you guys see?
Oh yeah, there's trust, lack of trust between team members that I'm seeing with some clients, lack of trust of leadership when leadership is giving directives, employees are not really seeing the alignment between what they say and what they do.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think trust just seems to be an overarching theme in the times that we're living in and navigating and working in right now, right?
Yeah, for sure. And in the vendor community, I know, Chris, that you work a lot with vendors, right? In as a producer.
Yep.
And so what are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, to Shalana's point, it all comes down to trust, but that even breaks down through communication and overall alignment. Because when any of those break down, it automatically affects the other two. And right now, I think we're living in a time where people are um, vendors and interdepartmental communication and alignment and strategy and cooperation and collaboration are happening at levels that are kind of like employee levels at where they're an integral part of your organization. And right now, I feel like the systems are still somewhat old and how they're handled, whether it's internally or externally. It's not aligned with the current way of doing business and communicating.
Yeah,
Mhm.
totally, right? And the outcome is that organizations are slowing
Yep.
down. So it's not a strategy problem. It's really about alignment and trust. That's the problem.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
so, it's easy to say that teams are inefficient, but in reality, it's the systems
Right.
that
Mhm.
are
Mhm.
inefficient because decision stalls because
No one owns them.
right, exactly. No one wants to own the
Own them.
decision and
Yep.
take action, right?
Yep.
Meetings multiply because,
Alignment is
Alignment
unclear.
is unclear.
right, no one has clarity about what we're supposed to be doing here, right?
Yeah.
And vendors like to comply to stay out of trouble, right? However,
Hmm.
They hesitate to escalate issues early.
Yep.
yes, exactly. And they see things, right? Because
Yep.
especially vendors that are with us for a long time, they're kind of
Mhm.
extension of the brand, but
Yep.
oftentimes they just want to be good soldiers and don't alert of something they see because either they get reprimanded or they say no, stick to the scope of work or whatever it is,
Mhm.
right? And so that's really a problem because it limits innovation and really doesn't foster trust.
Yeah.
They perform based on fear,
Mhm.
because they don't want to lose the contract. And so that's, not good. Also, I know that leaders spend more time coordinating than leading. And so I know that it brings a lot of frustration. I know, Shalonda, that you see that a lot,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. A lot of the leaders are bogged down with doing a lot of the coordinating or do having to go into departments and do the work themselves, right? Because the systems are broken. And when there isn't trust, communication tends to break down. And people often are working in silos instead of cross-functionally. Right. So leaders have that added responsibility on top of what they're responsible for right now to then go in and have to actually micromanage the
Mhm.
work. And then employees get resentful because they feel like the leaders are micromanaging, but you're not getting this work done. So this framework is great because it helps you to think of it as a system level where we can streamline it, look at processes, and then look at the individuals that are part of those critical points to get things done.
Right. So that way work doesn't just get approved, it
Mm-hmm.
gets moving too, right?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
actually you advance the
mhm,
project forward, it doesn't get stuck. And
yeah,
so, right now what we see is that a lot of teams just stay busy and there's a lot of busy work
yeah,
going on,
yeah.
but not much productivity.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the outcome of that is again frustration, people feeling like, what am I doing here? Or not understanding where they stand.
Mm-hmm.
Also, within nobody's indispensable, but we've always been taught this notion of, if you deliver, if you do exceptional work, and sometimes that's not even working, right,
Yeah.
Chris? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and and I think even going further, those people trust breakdowns, those are costing the business hardline dollars and lost revenue and excessiveness and overspending and yeah, it's really those systems that Shalonda was talking about that when they're clear, when everybody is aligned, when you know what your role is in the system and why your role matters, that's where that trust starts to happen and where that vendor doesn't hesitate, but will go the extra mile if they feel like they're part of the team and they're welcomed and communicated to as such.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that transfers to employees too, right? Whether they're new, older or more seasoned employees, generationally speaking. I mean, it's so layered
Yeah.
that when those breakdowns occur, oftentimes because of these dynamics, issues might surface late, and then everything becomes a rush job, right?
Uh-huh.
Everything becomes putting out fires, and that becomes costly when you start accumulating, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit
Mm-hmm.
here, a little bit there. It winds up being a huge loss as
Yeah.
part of your business model.
And when you think about it, when we distill all of the different challenges we see within organizations or teams that we work with, it really boils down to ownership,
Mhm.
owning your part of the process, and then accountability, right? To your point, there's a lot of busy work. Busy doesn't always mean productive. The way you move it from being busy to productive is knowing who owns which piece of the pie or which part of the process, and then having a little bit of accountability. And it doesn't need to be punitive, it just has to be you're part of this link. And if all links are not strong, we're not going to be able to make this process as strong as it needs to be.
Yes, absolutely. And so what we're planning to do this summer series is one time a month, lunch and learn from 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time, because we understand how busy everyone is, how busy leaders are. But it's not a webinar, right?
No.
What is it? Can you describe what we're looking to
Mhm.
deliver?
Do you want to take this, Chris?
Yeah, this is, Sami's point, more than a webinar. This is a leadership think tank. It's for leaders who are experiencing these problems or these issues, experiencing these challenges within their organization, and who want to communicate with other leaders who they can bounce ideas off of, use as a sounding board, and hopefully find some resolution and solutions and kind of tips and tricks of what is working for your peers.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So we're talking about executives,
Mhm.
operational leaders, HR and procurement people,
Yeah.
right? Leaders, supply chain leaders, and anyone that's really sick and tired of watching good work get
Yeah.
stuck,
Yeah.
and not advance to where it needs to be. And so, Shalonda, do you want to take us through the 4 dates that we have on
Mm-hmm.
the calendar,
Mm-hmm.
and just some high level, like an at a glance of
Oh,
what we're
absolutely.
going to cover in each session.
So I'm so excited about this series because it's right up my wheelhouse, right? And we've been working on this, so it's nice to see it give birth on June 15th. So we have 4 dates. Mark them on your calendar: June 15th, July 20th, August 17th, and September 21st. The first session on June 15th is going to be covering the accountability gap, why everything gets approved, but no one takes ownership, right? So the clarification on that is why every decision turns into 4 meetings. We know how much we love meetings, right? Especially if they're unproductive. I'm being sarcastic here. So how do we how do we make sure that things are moving, everybody knows what their piece of the process is, and there's a level of accountability in there. Then after that conversation, we're going to build on it to July 20th, and that's the silence problem. Why your team waits too long to speak up. Because oftentimes there are little red flags that they see, but for some reason they may not feel safe enough. They may not feel like it's part of their problem to really highlight. So looking at that cross-functional friction between departments, particularly as to why things are not actually working. And so we continue the series because, of course, we have to look at leadership. So on August 17th, we're covering leadership misalignment, right? Why your message as a leader changes as it moves through the organization. It's like that kid game of telephone. Like you say one thing, and by the time you get to the end, that's not exactly what I said, right? So, really figuring out where trust is breaking down, especially during times of change, and why good initiatives might lose momentum that you're trying to push forward. And then we wrap up the entire series on September 21st, what trust actually looks like at scale. Okay, so what are high performing organizations doing differently and where yours can improve? And the beautiful thing about what Chris says, this think tank gives you opportunity to talk to people who are going through similar things and to be able to network so that hopefully you can continue these connections even after the series, right? But why you walk away, when you walk away with is a clear view of what organizations are losing time, money, and momentum. What language is breaking down, right? Which is limiting progress, and insights into what high performing teams are doing differently. So that's the 4 series from June to September. And who knows what we'll cook up after.
Yes, exactly. Well, we are going to the AOM conference
Yep,
in
Academy of
late
Management.
July, early August.
Mhm.
We
Watch
are
out, Philly.
yes, I know up in Philly. We're
Go
very
sit your
excited
brotherly
about
love.
that.
Mhm.
But this is leading up to that too, right? It's like
Yep.
we've been working on this, so excited that we've been invited to speak and present the trust-driven advantage at the AOM conference. It's a first for me. I know that this is your wheelhouse, Dr. Shalonda Simmons Emmanuel. Uh, and Chris and I are very excited, to join you in convening with
Mhm.
experts and really presenting this new path
Mhm.
towards just including and embedding trust
Yep.
into the way we conduct business, because it's completely everything is out of whack right now, and we
Yeah.
see it in every aspect of it. And so we have limited seating, right, Chris?
Yep.
So do you want to encourage people to reserve their spot?
Yep. Yeah. Please RSVP to Semi, Shaiman, Shaiman at urbander.com. So it's limited to 20 liters per session. So total of 4 sessions. If you want to attend all 4, please obviously reach out as soon as possible. These will be filling up fast, but yeah, we'd love to see you. We'd love to hear your insights. As it's been mentioned here, this is more than a year, probably almost 2 years now, in the works of a lot of research, talking to leaders and people in these organizations of all different industries who are dealing with these these scenarios that we're going to be going over in this summer series. And what we want you to know is you're not alone. There are other people going through it as well. Obviously, each organization has their own unique characteristics and dynamics that make their situations unique. But you'll find through these sessions, as we found in putting these together over the last couple years here, that there are trends, there are solutions, there is hope, and it's just a matter of identifying where the trust is breaking down and filling those gaps with the correct strategies that are going to bring your team and your vendors and your community together to be working like a well-oiled machine. And honestly, you couldn't have. I'm lucky to be in the presence of these two amazing people here, but trust me, the brain power that is part of this group and the various backgrounds that we are bringing to the table here, I'm really excited for these think tanks and to collaborate with all of you and hear what we're doing and what you're doing and how we can all make our organizations and our businesses better.
So there you go. Make sure to reserve your seat.
Mhm.
The email, my email. So this is not through Eventbrite. No, this is like direct access because we're all leaders and we need to make sure that we remove barriers,
Barriers.
right? To
Mhm.
get the information that we need and the techniques and strategies that we need to have a clear view of where our organizations are losing time, losing money, and losing momentum, to diagnose. This is like a triage, right? So we're going to do this in these 4 sessions. It's going to be a process like triage of your organization. So that way you can quickly,
Mhm.
test some of these strategies. And we're pretty sure you're going to see some really great results because we've done this before, right?
Mhm.
In our respective work with various clients and also together because we've collaborated on some of this business as well. And just making sure that the high performing teams that you already have, the high performing vendors that you already have, right? It's just taking it to the next level and removing all of those trust issues, quite frankly, and problems and that misalignment. So we want to put everybody right back on track so that way you can experience innovation, you can experience collaboration, you can experience clear communication and remove stuff like fear, hesitation,
Mhm.
and or ill, right? Feelings, resentment, or whatever, right? Like that's the stuff that we're gonna uncover. And so we're just excited to have you join us and really encourage you to do so. So don't forget, reserve your spot. Check out at the email that's provided here, and we can't wait to see you.